What's going on, people? It's me, Cole Jackson, host of the STEM Society, and I wanted to give you guys five albums that define me, and that's going to help you guys get to know me a little bit better. Now, this is in no particular order because I can't rank these. These are five albums that kind of built me up to who I am. So, for the first album, it's Ice Cube, The Predator. This was one of the first albums I actually ever bought. Ice Cube, I lived in the Bay Area for a little while when I was growing up, and Ice Cube was like that dude. This was like 92, and I did chores around the house, and I had to get my cousin to buy it because I wasn't old enough to buy the album, and my cousin bought it for me. And the way Ice Cube, like, I heard Today Was a Good Day on was it Rap City? It had to be Rap City. I seen the video, and I wanted that album so bad. Like, I was like, I gotta get it. Again, not even old enough to go buy it for myself, so my cousin had to go get it. But listening to that album and listening to Ice Cube rap was like one of the biggest things ever. So when I heard that album and when I seen Today Was a Good Day video, I knew I wanted to be a part of hip hop and I wanted to be a part of rap. And Ice Cube was one of those reasons why. So it just it just made sense to buy his album. And again, I grew up in the Bay Area, and it was just one of those things where hip hop was so different. Sample, the way people sampled, the way people rhymed, all of that shit. And this album was one of the first albums that I ever owned. So yeah, Ice Cube, The Predator, really helped mold who I am. Next album, Outkast, ATLiens. Now, if you ever had a conversation with me and you asked me what the perfect hip hop album would be, I would say ATLiens. This album right here kept me in touch with my southern roots. I was born in Alabama. I was back and forth between the Bay Area and Alabama, and the album had a message and it was conscious, but it was banging. Like, when I listened to that album, I had never heard anything like that before in my life. So it just became one of those albums that stuck with me throughout my whole life. Like, that is one of the best and, again, perfect hip hop albums I've ever heard in my life. No skips on it. The rhyming that came from Big Boy and Andre just cemented how great the South is when it came to making hip hop music. So, ATLiens is just one of those albums that I just will never let go, because it just helped me realize that you don't have to be a hardcore gangster rapper to be able to get a message across and to be able to make great music. So Outkast, ATLiens, that's another album that helped shape me. So Jay-Z's The Blueprint. I don't think I've ever heard anybody be as bold and as boastful, and I guess this was the album that Jay showed his versatility. Like, Jay had records like Girls, 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 but he also had records like The Takeover. The way that he went crazy on this album and proved that he was one of the best rappers in New York, that solidified him. This was the album that solidified him being the best ever. I think a lot of people would probably say it was other albums, but for me, The Blueprint showed that, like, Jay-Z could not be touched lyrically. It showed me how great Kanye and Just Blaze was as far as, like, producing wise, and that album just made sense. Like, the sequencing of the album is good. The songs on there, it's such a New York album. I had never really been that big of a New York hip hop fan. Jay had always kept my attention. I've always listened to Jay-Z music, but this was the album I was like, yo, this nigga's different. He's doing shit on a completely different level than anybody else, and he knows how to make a great album. Yeah, Jay-Z, The Blueprint, that was another album that helped mold me. Travis Scott's Birds Singing the Trap McKnight. Different. nobody was making hip hop like this or making rap albums like this. And to hear what he was putting together and to see the evolution of Travis Scott, because I remember listening to Rodeo and was like, yo, I think he's fire. But like listening to this, I was like, oh, he can make hits. Like when I listened to that album, it instantly became like one of my favorite albums of all time, just because of the sounds that he was making on here. The intro with T.I. that was like telling the story. Everything about this album said left when everybody was going right. And Goosebumps is probably one of the most replayable songs in the world. I love that song, but I love the whole album. I mean, you get into some drug talk, you get into just a whole kind of trippy type of vibe on that album, but it is so good. I became a Travis Scott super fan after this album, and it just kind of took me into whatever kind of alt hip hop was going on at the time, because it just didn't sound like the norm or the regular, your typical hip hop album. So yeah, Travis Scott's Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight, unbelievable album. Last but most definitely not least, E40 In a Major Way. Growing up in the Bay Area, you learn to love a lot of local artists, and you learn to love what they play on the radio. E40 was on the radio on a regular basis, and E40 had been putting out hits for a very long time. In a Major Way was like my first. That was my first E40 CD that I had purchased. Again, my cousin had to get it for me, but In a Major Way was like so different. Like In a Major Way had E40 with Sprinkle Me, which was like his nationwide like hit. I think that was like one of his biggest hits ever. He had Tupac on the album. Spice One, like he was giving the Bay Area so much love. Mac Mall. He just had some great songs. This is when E40 was actually telling niggas about slanguage, and kind of showing people how we speak, or how a lot of us speak in the Bay Area. It just made sense, and it's so much better than what people remember it. And yeah, In a Major Way, just really, even the cover of the album is him in a Rolex. And E40 was one of those people that showed us how to do shit independently, how to get money independently as an artist. He got so much love in the Bay, and people respected him so much. And this was his, to me, I look at it as his breakout album for the world to understand what the Bay had already knew for a very long time. Because he was nationwide when this album dropped. Like everybody was fucking with In a Major Way. But this was the album that just kind of solidified how great E40 is as a rapper and an artist, and how to put niggas on what the Bay Area had been doing forever. So that's why I love that album so much. The songs are amazing. Like everything was catchy. Like he was just doing shit differently, and that's what I loved about it. And it helped mold me. So those are 5 albums that define who I am as a hip hop head. I'm gonna be doing way more videos like this. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. If you have any suggestions as far as like some other videos I should be putting out to help you get to know me better, let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later on. Peace out.